I know I've talked to Mr. Bjorkman. He has talked to me about this issue, and I think the deputy mayor also did. But after I get done, I hope Mr. Bjorkman tells you people what he's done, you know, with regards to the county and this issue. To me, if it's important, it's going to get dealt with. What I'm looking for is something that, what's the word now? Time sensitive. If it's time sensitive, we're going to deal with it here. I don't care which council member brings it up. Hey, I've got something that has to be dealt with before our next meeting. We're going to deal with that, you know. And I've never asked the clerk or our CAO when these things are brought up, like I am the only one that has the power to say no when they're over here under new business. I've never asked, do I have the power to say no to these things that flash open on Monday nights here? You know, I've never asked that. I probably should have, you know, because maybe we could have eliminated some of them and administration wouldn't have been thrown under the bus the odd time. So that's the only thing I want to do. It's time sensitive, and if it just came up, exactly, if something happened Friday night, yes, bring it here and we can deal with it. But if it can wait until the next meeting, like most of our items can, deal with it at our next meeting and gives administration and the rest of us a chance to understand what's happening. So that's the only reason I would like this off. I'm not trying to stop what's moving the town forward. It's let's go back to the old ways where we deal with things by Tuesday at noon. And if it's time sensitive or a minor issue that is 2 minutes, doesn't take administration to study something, we can deal with those kinds of things. And thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mayor McDermott. I have Steve Bjorkman next. Councilor Bjorkman.
Point of order, Deputy Mayor Malash. Should the mayor make the motion and get it seconded before we continue discussion?
We can do that if that's your desire. Do you want to make the motion to put this in place? What you're asking? So we've got the motion here. So have we got a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Kexero. And there's been a recorded vote requested when we do it. So Councillor Bjorkman, you were next.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, I've thought about this issue probably in my first 6 months on council as well, and found that there were a number of times where we would bring something up on the Monday night with less than an adequate information and act on it. And I haven't been in favor of that. You've heard me ask for we should wait, get a report from administration, and that has been my feeling. However, I went through and I visited all of the websites in the county, the different councils, and everybody in this county has new business. And a couple of them have new business that Councillor Snively who brought forward and had it put on the agenda today, and then some have a non-agenda business area. And it's loosely defined by its matters of a minor and urgent nature that require a council decision. We can't wait 2 weeks. But it's not a big deal. It's not something that we have been talking about or somebody knew about 2 weeks before. You found out after the close of our agenda, you bring it forward. It's a minor nature. If it's something that's more than that, well, it gets put on the next agenda and we get a report. And I just think it's very important we always give our administration an opportunity to report. I'm not in favor of removing this removing new business from the agenda. I am in favor of parameters for non-agenda issues. There should be a definition as to what makes it on here when we come in on Monday night and say, okay, we're going to put something new on the agenda. There should be parameters around that, and I would ask the support to get direction to let's have a committee that's made up of the people that make the agenda and a couple of councillors let's look at it and make sure that our agenda does what we want our agenda to do. I understand there was an agenda review, and now we have all of our committee agendas, everything's made up of the same format. But I believe at our table, if there's a couple of different things that are in there, they're well worth having. And that's what I have to say on it.
Thanks, Councillor Bjorkman. Councillor Bondi?
Thank you. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with almost everything our worship said. If we want to be transparent, then here is the place where we are transparent. Tweaking new business, I would be up to changing how we do new business, yes. Removing it, absolutely no. If we look at our calendar, and if you look at the month of February, if you do not get your agenda item on by Tuesday the 2nd at noon, you literally have to wait until February 22nd to discuss another item if you're not able to get it into new business. Items that I have brought up under new business, for example, the deputy mayor, the last council meeting, are in fact old business that administration or council has forgotten about for over a year or a year less a day. So some items that I bring up under new business are in fact old business. I'll go to the old business route if I have to get my job done. We need to be working here, getting our items done. 20 days in between a council meeting is not good for getting our work done in terms of serving our people. If we want to meet every Monday, I'd be up to meeting every Monday night in order to streamline how we can effectively serve our people. We also got our hands recently slapped by the ombudsman's office because we held an email meeting about an item that I had requested twice to be brought up here about the prayer in council meetings. That was not brought up in a transparent process, and I requested it twice. We got our hands slapped over that. The reason also why I brought up the deputy mayor at the last council meeting, and the reason why it was fitting, is because our clerk, who was tasked with the duty, was retiring. So had we not asked about that update, then how would we get that update? I am not prepared, after the hand slapping by the ombudsman, to send out an email for an update. I want it to happen here. I'm fine with tweaking new business, but we either need a council questions or a time when we can ask these updates, when it serves the public and it gives a transparent update. So that's all I have to say, really. 20 days is a long time between council meetings. I would like to work together and figure out how we can do, lots of new business that we do is talking about events and talking about small things. And also, if there is an item on our council agenda, I am the first person to say, and council member is not here, let's not vote on it. When you were recently here, I said, let's not vote on it. When I brought up the deputy mayor, I said, let's have a meeting so we can talk about the deputy mayor. Let's not decide tonight what we're doing with the deputy mayor. Another thing tonight, we talked about AMO, and we talked about, are we moving our council meeting? We never made a decision on that. So I'm still sitting here, still confused. Are we changing our council date? Like, I'm confused about that. So that would be an item that I would bring under new business for clarification, because half the time I leave this room more confused than when I walk in here, saying, what the heck are we doing? A lot of times I use new business for clarification on issues that are unresolved. So please, if there's another route that I can clarify my business for my constituents, I will be willing to find that door. If not, I'm going to have to sidestep and shoot around you and shoot and to get my job done. Make it easier for me, and I'll make it easier for you.
Thanks, Councillor Bondi. Do I have anyone else who wants to comment? Mayor McDermott?
As the mover, I get a chance to speak one more time, right? Okay, to the motion. Never did I ever say you can't bring it up, and this is to Councillor Bondi. You just made the statement that you can't bring it up for 20 days or whatever it was if you haven't got it in by noon. That's not what I said, by noon Tuesday. I didn't say that. Obviously, you weren't listening to me when I was just talking. I know I talked a lot more than I probably have in the past year, but I wish you'd have heard what I said, because I didn't say that. That's what you said, not me. If you haven't got it in by Tuesday noon and it's something major, all you have to do is call the town office. We can get it on the agenda. And they're going to be able to talk about it. Excuse me, sir. Is she listening to me or isn't she? That's all I want to know. You have a shot. It's this, oh, look at me, you know, at the meetings. that go on. Oh, I'll bring this up. Yeah, you can guarantee I'll get that on the agenda. It's showboating, politicking, grandstanding, whatever you want to call it. That's what I call it. And you said you're confused. I'm confused half the time too, of all this stuff that comes up, and I don't know what you're talking about, and it happens constantly. I'm not talking about texting. Are we going to do this? You're talking about the ombudsman. It's got nothing to do with that. It has to do with the way we conduct business here. You have until Tuesday. You used to have, long before, as soon as I started here, you had till Wednesday at noon to get the stuff on here. Time-sensitive stuff got brought up here, and we changed it. Like I said, 5 years ago, you people brought it from, I will say, you three, same, transparency. You brought that word here, and I agree with transparency. What kind of transparency that you brought is different now than when you brought it here? It's a lot different. Everything that's brought up on Monday night is not being transparent with our public, or staff, or council members. That's all I'm saying. I'm not stopping the town business like you've accused me in your email. Never. But we'll sure put an end to this. And I can't hardly do it because my arm's not big enough. But we sure get a lot of that in here. Just ask 90% of our taxpayers in town. So I know how the vote's going, and it doesn't bother me. But I'm sure Councilor Bjorkman will have a better idea than I do, which will be almost the same thing, but in a hell of a lot better words. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash.
Thanks, Mayor McDermott. Councillor Snively has another comment.
Your Worship.
Point of order? Point of order, sir.
Point of, yes. Councillor Snively has not spoken after the motion was made, and you will have one more opportunity to speak after him.
Okay, thanks.
Your Worship, I can see you're getting a little worked up, and people are getting worked up here. That's fine. Let's just move on. You put the motion out there. Let's vote on it, and let's go on with business. Thank you.
And the last word, that's what we're going to do if you hadn't said anything, sir. Thank you. Good, Mr. Chair.
Okay, with that said, we've been asked for a recorded vote, and I'll let the clerk handle the recorded vote.
Okay, so since Councillor Bondi requested the recorded vote, Councillor Bondi? Opposed. Councillor Vokes? Opposed. Councillor Bjorkman? Opposed. Councillor Snively? Opposed. Councillor Caxera?
Opposed.
Deputy Mayor Malash?
Opposed?
And Mayor McDermott?
And I'm opposed. May I just have a comment to that, or is that all you can do, Chair, Mr. Chair?
No, we'll just vote, and then we'll go on for another discussion afterwards.
Opposed.
Yeah. Anyone didn't hear? I'm opposed.
Okay. So on the motion concerning the town's procedural bylaw, the vote by recorded vote, Councillor Bondi opposed, Councillor Vokes opposed, Councillor Bjorkman opposed, Councillor Caxera opposed, Councillor Snively opposed, Deputy Mayor Malash opposed, and Mayor McDermott support. Oh. Opposed as well, sorry. Motion's defeated.
Thank you. So, with that said, are we looking to make a motion that's different than the motion that, before I hand the gavel back to the mayor? We're looking for a different motion. Councillor Kexero.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Malash, I certainly liked Councillor Bjorkman's route that he'd like to take. I think it would be good to maybe create some parameters on maybe what or how we proceed with regards to that item on the agenda. certainly it was nice of him to do the research that he did, so that we knew what was going on around us. And I'd be certainly in support of doing something like that.
Councillor Bjorkman?
Yeah, I would just say at this moment, I'm not prepared to make a motion to direct anything, but I think it's worth looking into before our next meeting, and at that time, bringing something forward.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, thank you. I'm going to pass the gavel back to the mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Malash. Rob? Yep. Thanks.
Moving on to item 13, bylaws. 13A, bylaw number 1482, being a bylaw to enter into an agreement between the town of Essex and Dr. Kazmarek to provide consulting services for a nurse practitioner.
Councillor Vokes and Deputy Mayor Malash. And, oh, sorry. Yep. Comment, Deputy Mayor Malash.
Not sure if everyone understands what the implications of this is and what this is doing. But what I would like to ask to our administration is, right now we have an agreement with between the town of Essex and the Harrow Family Health Team to have that nurse practitioner's clinics or nurse practitioner's position with the Harrow Family Health Team. And I'm wondering what would happen if we didn't pass this bylaw.
Through your worship, our agreement is not with the Harrow Health Team, it is with Dr. Lindbergh. There's no agreement between the town of Essex and the Harrow Health Team in terms of the nurse practitioner position. To answer your question is what would happen, I don't know. If you turn that bylaw down, I don't know. I mean, that's, the nurse practitioner is our employee, and she's asked to be moved to a different doctor as her consulting, collaborating doctor. I don't know how we would go forward with that if you say no.
So if we have, let's say Mr. Nepsey decides that he doesn't want to work in the town of Essex, the hall at the town of Essex Administrative Building, and he wants to be moved to Gesto, would we just automatically say, okay, that's fine, we'll move you to Gesto?
No.
I'd just like some clarification on what determines, who determines where our nurse practitioner, like the town of Essex is getting the grant and funding this position through a grant that we can get as the town of Essex. Who directs, and I think we need to have some clarification before we pass the bylaw as to who directs this position.
Through you, Your Worship, in terms of directing the position, I mean, on a day-to-day, because the nurse practitioner is located at the Harrow Health Team, or in the past has worked with other collaborating physicians, typically what happens is not directed by us on a day-to-day basis. But I do want to mention that our nurse practitioner has not always worked for the Harrow Health Team. She has also worked for the doctor that Dr. Lava is taking over from, and she has worked for other doctors that are outside of the Harrow Health Team, Dr. Chung for one, when he was on his own. So, I mean, it's changed over the years depending on the needs, but I mean, the need in terms of the ministry funding, the ministry is quite clear in their agreement, and I've tried to get in touch with them to see if there's anything that can change in there. But they're quite clear. The service area that our nurse practitioner has to work in is within Harrow and Colchester South, and cannot be operated through McGregor or through any other location within the municipality, Essex as well.
That's fine, but my question still is who dictates where that person or where that body should be functioning? Does the town of Essex have the right to decide where that body goes, where that person goes?
Through you, Your Worship, in the past, we've never exercised that right, no.
just before I get to you, Councillor Snively, Deputy Mayor Malash, we have a couple ladies down there just, I think, chomping at the bit to say something. They might have some answers for you, so if you would like to make a motion.
We have a motion on the floor, though.
Yeah? Okay, who wants to withdraw it? Who made the motion? Well, we can't yet until we have a motion on the floor made by Randy and Richard. If you withdraw your motion, and then we can make a motion to,
Okay, and I'll withdraw as well.
okay, thank you very much. Now we need a motion. Councillor Caxero, make a motion.
I'll move to allow the two ladies.
Two ladies. Deputy Mayor Malash supports that. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Welcome, ladies. Purple button, oh, you do, wow.
Hello. I'm Kathy McPherson. I am the nurse practitioner employed by the town of Essex. I have been employed by you since January 2004, when you got the ministry mandate for me to help Dr. Carswell and Dr. Chung provide health care to the people of Harrow and Colchester South. My person that I report to and answers to me is the deputy clerk, not the deputy clerk, Robert Auger. He is my new boss. Since the time I've come to work here, first I started out working with Dr. Carswell and Dr. Chung together. Dr. Carswell didn't use me to my full scope of practice, and I didn't see that many patients there, so I moved to Dr. Chung. While I was at Dr. Chung's office, I also worked at the teen center. Then Dr. Carswell's patients who wanted to see me specifically for well women exams, and that's what Dr. Carswell used me for. And to this day, Dr. Carswell's patients come to me at the Harrow Health Center to provide, I do their well women exams. Then what happened was we started with the proposal. I was part of the committee of 26 people to write the proposal for the FIT. At that time, Dr. Chung took a lot of persuasion, but he became the signing physician for the Harrow Health Center. I went to the Harrow Health Center with Dr. Chung because he was my consulting physician. I moved from Dr. Carswell's to Dr. Chung without a problem whatsoever. Then I came to the Harrow Health Center. I was part of proposal, part of each brick that went in there. I have maintained my practice in good standing on a regular basis. I have reported to Cheryl Bondi all the way through my practice, and that is the person who I've always discussed issues with and whether I wanted to transfer or not. All of the consulting physician documentation has come to council, has been approved by His Worship or council in general, but I always have a conversation with my boss before that happens. The culture at the Harrow Health Center is not a place that I want to work at anymore. Dr. Carswell was retiring and there left 2,000 patients without a healthcare provider. I approached Dr. Lapakash-Merrick if she would consider being part of that foe, because it's a different model than the Harrow Health Center, whereas Dr. Kashmerek is her own employer. She's self-employed. She is affiliated with the Amherstburg Health Team, but she is not taking care of patients in Amherstburg. She is taking care of the 2,000 patients in Harrow that will be without a physician on March 1st. I have always worked to my best in this facility. Presently at the Harrow Health Center, there are 6 physicians, there are 3 nurse practitioners, and I am the 4th. Harrow Health Center is over and above their quota for NPs. If you look at Leamington, they only have 2 nurse practitioners. They have 1 in Kingsville in the satellite site. My mandate is written here and was signed in law by Law 535 by the town of Essex, and this is what I work by. All it states is that I am to be reporting to the, I don't know your name, the courts. And in my document here, Dr. Lindbergh was the signing physician, my consulting physician. When Dr. Chung retired in 2010, a new contract was brought up with Dr. Lindbergh being the signing physician. It doesn't matter how many, it's not the physicians that I'm working with, it's the patients, and that's my mandate. I think I will be used more wisely through Dr. Carswell's office than I ever will be at the Harrow Health Center. I understand that McGregor is an issue, and this is the first I've heard that they're looking at me to be the replacement of that. None of that communication has ever been brought to me. I feel that I request that you accept me and Dr. Lapa in taking over Dr. Carswell's practice, and that is in the center of Harrow. That is what needs to be done right now. There are 2,000 patients in Harrow where there is 400 signed petitions here. There is 200 patients seen in McGregor on walk-in, or some of our patients. Margot has already hired another physician, Dr. Atwood, to come to the center to help with Dr. Laba leaving. So the issue is, I want Dr. Laba to be my consulting physician and no one else. And so I'm bringing that forward. Thank you.
Hey, Mayor Millar, you still have the floor, sir.
Thank you. So I have a question to Dr. Laba then. There's 2,000 patients that you have. Is that more patients than you can handle on your own?
No.
Yes.
So then there's no need to have...
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, what did you say? Is that more than...
I think you understood the question.
No, I'm sorry?
So Kathy, that's the reason why I'm saying 2,000 patients.
No. Is it more than I can handle on my
Yeah.
own? Yes.
Okay.
The Ministry of Health indicates that physicians full-time should have a 1,600 roster, 1,650, and with an additional 800, a nurse practitioners can handle. At the Harrow Health Center presently, not all the physicians are working to that capacity. Physicians, if they see 22 patients a day, a nurse practitioner sees 11, that's 2,400 patients that will be taken care of. I have spoken to Dr. Lindbergh about this, and she said if you needed a letter to say that, to release her and give it to Dr. Lapa, she's in agreement to do that.
And you understand the position it puts us in with McGregor Clinic?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mowash, but I was never part of the McGregor Clinic, and you don't even know if you're going to get funding or not. It's a pilot project that has been viable, has worked well, and they don't know if they're going to get their full funding. You have already indicated that here at Council that you're looking to help them out with that funding. I'm sure that the other physicians or the nurse practitioners would work as well. It probably would be very viable as a walk-in clinic, like a fee-for-service as well, that would generate money. So there are other options available. I would just prefer that be respectful of my wishes, because I have been in Harrow since January 2004, have done a good job, and I have lots of respect in this community, and I would like you to respect my wishes as well for what I want to do for this community. 2,000 patients without a physician. We'll have Dr. Lapa come on board. I want to be part of that practice.
And Kathy,
And I've never had a problem before in the past, ever. And this is your baby. McGregor's your baby, and I understand what you need. So that's what I want you to think about it. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Rich.
So Kathy, I just want you to be aware that I know that you've done a good job. I've always heard the best of your performances, and I know that people in the Harrow area respect you and believe that you do a good job. So I'm not questioning your abilities or anything like that. I'm just trying to figure out what's best for the town of Essex as far as what we need to do to try and keep that McGregor. There's a lot of pressure for us to try and keep that McGregor clinic open.
I am not part of McGregor, never have been. My mandate is Harrow, Colchester South. Here is the contract that we signed with the Ministry of Health indicating that.
And with you being in Harrow, it frees up a nurse practitioner at the Harrow Family Health Team to send to McGregor.
I am not an employee of the Harrow Health Center at all. Never have been. I have provided in-kind services and done well, been respectful of their policy. I feel that you're pressuring me because I have now resigned with the information that you have given here. I am to give 60 days notice for either party. Here it says, can make the change if you give 60 days notice, and I have done that. It's in the contract.
If I may, Deputy Mayor Malash, our CEO has a comment.
Thank you, through you, Your Worship. I wanted to clarify something that in discussion with Donna Hunter earlier this week, or last week, was the discussion that she had with the ministry in terms of what Kathy has just indicated, is that the contract, for my clarity and for the clarity of council, the contract, as I understood it, that was initially signed when the town applied to get a nurse practitioner, that contract is to provide nurse practitioner services for the town of Harrow and the area of South Colchester. It does not involve McGregor. And I appreciate what the councillor's saying in terms of it freeing up, but the point made is that Kathy works for the town to provide services for Harrow and Colchester or South Colchester. Is that correct, Donna?
Through you, Your Worship, yes it is. When the application was made, it was because there was a shortage of medical care within the town of Harrow and Colchester South, and that was the basis for the grant program that we received.
Boy, by just me, 6 doctors and 4 nurse practitioners in Harrow, and there's a shortage. Wow. Councillor Snively, Councillor Caxero, and Councillor Bjorkman.
Through Your Worship, I understand Deputy Mayor's frustration, but then again, I was there when the announcements came down, and I think Kathy has all the right to work wherever she wants in Harrow. She was employed by Essex to the Harrow area, so I don't see what the problem is here. I mean, Kathy's here, and there's 2,000 patients that need medical, and I will be one of them, because I go to Carswell. But anyways, I can't see where the issue is here. She has the freedom to go where she wants in Harrow. She was hired by Essex, and it's paid for by the government, supported by Essex. She has the right to work any medical facility in Harrow. So, and I just want to stress that. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Malash, I have a question also.
I disagree with what Councillor Snively is saying. Kathy, it's the grant, your position's paid by a grant that the town of Essex initiated. So I believe that the town of Essex should have a sense of control over where you're practicing at. And if Dr. Carswell's office was only servicing Amherstburg patients,
It's not.
I've got the floor right now, thank you. I know he's practicing with Harrow patients, but let's say, for instance, he was servicing only Amherstburg patients, but had his office in Harrow. No, it doesn't make any sense. But then the town of Essex would have to step in and say, hey, look it, this is wrong. I know you want to move there, but I think the town of Essex should have been, I think the horse went before the cart. I think the town of Essex should have been provided the information first before the move was actually made. And that's kind of the direction that I'm going in.
Okay, thank you, sir. I have Councillor Snively, Caxero, and you're finished? Okay. Oh, Donna Hunter, okay. And then Councillor Caxero.
Your Worship, I just want to add that Kathy McPherson, our nurse practitioner, met with Cheryl and I before Cheryl retired to advise us if that was her desire to move, and that's hence why the bylaw came forward. So she did advise us. She was talking to the person that she normally talked to, and that was Cheryl Bondi. And in terms of the grant application, yes, we spearheaded the grant application through the town, but that was a program that was dedicating resources to places where medical resources were underprivileged, and so, I mean, the town's involvement was to try and get medical care in the town of Harrow, and that was the whole impetus, and in order to do that grant program, the town had to be the lead.
Councillor Caxero, before I ask my question.
Through Your Worship, just curious as to whether you guys anticipate obviously more than the 2,000 patients, because I know in a specific case, there are people that you see, Kathy, probably at the Harrow Health team, that will migrate and try to follow you. So I would expect that you guys expect more than the 2,000, not just the 2,000 that are there.
Dr. Laba has 900 patients that are going with her, but it's their choice how they want to go. I have, over the past 2 weeks, indicated to the patients I've seen that this is what I was doing, and of those, one have said that they're not coming. So we probably will be in the realm of 2,600 to 2,700 patients. I don't know. We have to see what happens. Everybody has a choice as to who their healthcare provider will be.
So follow-up to that, I guess the question would be, is there a maximum you guys can have migrate over? Or
I didn't, no, right.
There isn't a maximum, but...
There isn't a maximum in the flow, but we have to be able to manage the patients.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Bjorkman.
Donna pretty much answered my question. I'll ask it anyway, though. Is this what has transpired between the nurse practitioner and our clerk is the normal course of operation that has been followed throughout her tenure with us?
Through you, Your Worship, yes, it is. When Kathy McPherson has changed collaborating physicians, she's contacted the clerk, a bylaw has come forward, and that's the typical process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm a little confused with all these doctors' names and everything, who's going with who and who's taking who away from who. We lost a doctor in Harrow.
Yes.
Oh, one said yes and one said no.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Carswell retired. What's our legal right in replacing him? And he was out of the health center, or was he? He wasn't, that's what I thought. He had his own practice.
That's
And
correct.
You work in the health center. Okay. Yeah, he's not our issue, but you young lady are the one that's going to take over his practice?
Yes, I'm Dr.
Yes,
Lava
office.
Kaczmarek, and I will be
Okay.
taking over Dr. Carswell's position. Yes.
So, and now Kathy, you want to leave the Harrow Health team where you work and go over to her office.
Yes, I want to go back to where I originally started and got Dr. Carswell's office. I started there in 2004.
Now, what is our problem? Why can't we do that? Because why? Beg pardon? Rich? Oh, we can't. Oh. Yeah, okay, well, I'm getting it straight now. But how does whatever is happening in Harrow concern our office in McGregor? Because there's a problem, monies and everything else. That, you people have nothing to do with what's not going to happen. Okay, good. Wow. Okay, I'm finished. Anyone else?
Yeah, I need a doctor. Is there...
Way to go, Randy.
Are you practicing right now? I'm going down for the 10 count.
Think so. Councilor Bjorkman and then Councilor Snively.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the bylaw and enact it.
Okay, questions to the bylaw? No? All in favor of the bylaw? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Thank you for enlightening me anyways. Thanks.
Item 13B, bylaw 1483, being a bylaw to appoint a manager of legislative services and clerk for the town of Essex.
Councillor Cactero,
Motion to enact the bylaw.
and supported by Deputy Mayor Malage. Comments? I just have one. Our CAO says, I hope the next one goes quickly. Or goes through. Or goes through, period. Any questions? Councillor Cactero.
I'll just make a comment. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yes. All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Welcome aboard. Thank you. Moving right along, 13C, bylaw number 1484, being a bylaw to enter into a collective agreement between the town of Essex and Canadian Union of Public Employees, Local 702.3.
By Councillor Oakes and supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Oh, I just wanted to make a comment at this time. Great job by both parties, the union representatives, from all I understand, and our own, staff here that worked diligently, many hours, but one of the best contracts both parties have agreed to, from what I understand. And that, thank you very much to our staff especially, but also to the union staff for getting this done.
Item 13D, bylaw number 1486, being a bylaw passed under Section 11.3 of the Municipal Act to establish Lot 68, Plan 1645 as a public parking lot.
Moved by Councillor Cactero, supported by Councillor Bjorkman. Questions?
I just wondering, where exactly is this?
Mrs. Hunter?
Through your worship, this is the Shoppers Drug Mart in Harrow.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All in favor? All in favor? Motion carries.
13E, bylaw number 1487, being a bylaw to establish a public highway to and from King Street East, Essex.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Malage, Councillor Cactero supports. Questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
And lastly, bylaw number 1485, to confirm the proceedings of this February 8th meeting.
Moved by Councillor Bjorkman, Councillor Vogt supports. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Just before adjournment, sir, I would recommend that, like Councillor Bondy said, if you have plans to go on the 14th of August, I think it was, get to administration right away so that we will all know and, we can plan on having that meeting or changing it to the next night or whatever, like Councillor Vogts has worked. Okay? Now, adjournment. Councillor Vogts and Councillor Bjorkman. Questions? All in favor? There we go.